Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh no, you can do that.
Hare Krishna. Are we going to do the karpa? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Prabhupada ki. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki. Good smell. Hare Krishna. Today we are going to discuss from chapter 6, verse number 45 and possibly 46. We'll be discussing Hare Krishna Prabhu. We'll be doing two verses. Both are short verses. It has short purport by Srila Prabhupada. So I will just do the first verse and we can do word by word, and we can also, everyone can repeat. But verse number 46, I'll just do it later once I cover 45. So this is old version of the book. So the page number won't match, but it's chapter 6, verse number 45.
It's 357 in this book.
Okay, 357 here as well.
357. Page number 357.
Prayatnat yatamanastu. Prayatnat yatamanastu. Yogi Shamshuddha Kilbishai. Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishai. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Tato Yati Paramgatim. Tato Yati Paramgatim. This is a wonderful verse. Let me repeat again. Prayatna yatamanastu. Yogi Shamshuddha Kilbishai. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Tato Yati Paramgatim. Prayatna yadamanastu. Yogi Shamshuddha Kilbishai. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Tato Yati Paramgatim. Anybody would like to chant the verse? Prayatnad yatamanastu. Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishai. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Tato Yati Paramgatim. Prayatnad yatamanastu. Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishai. Aneka Janma Samsiddhas. Tato Yati Paramgatim.
Prayatnad yatamanastu.
Prayatnad yatamanastu.
Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishai.
Yogi Samshuddha Kilbishai.
Aneka Janma Samsiddhas.
Aneka Janma Samsiddhas.
Tato Yati Paramgatim.
Tato Yati Paramgatim. Anyone from Mataji's would like to chant? Okay. We can do word by word. Prayatnat,
Prayatna.
by rigid practice.
By rigid practice.
Yatamana,
Yatamana.
endeavoring.
Endeavoring.
To,
To.
and
And.
yogi,
Yogi.
such a transcendentalist.
Such a transcendentalist.
Samshuddha,
Samshuddha.
washed off.
Washed off.
Kilbishai,
Kilbishai.
all of whose sins.
All of our sins.
Aneka,
Aneka.
after many, many.
After many
Janma,
Janma.
births.
Births.
Samshiddhi,
Samsiddhi.
sorry. Samsiddha,
Samsiddha.
having achieved perfection.
Having achieved perfection.
Tata,
Tata.
thereafter.
Thereafter.
Yati,
Yati.
attains.
Attains.
Param,
Param.
the highest.
The highest.
Gatim,
Gati.
destination.
Destination.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed off all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. One more time. Translation, and when the yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed off all contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. So let's do the invocation prayers, and then we will read Purport by Srila Prabhupada. So the prayers are in Bhagavad Gita. If you go to the introduction section, there are prayers, so we'll be doing those prayers. We would like to follow. You can repeat. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sakshurumilitam Yena Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Vedanti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sakrijatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhan Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Digabandhu Jagapade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Gayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We just chanted the mantra, the Panchatattva mantra. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Today is happened to be the auspicious appearance day of Advaita Acharya. So we will discuss about verse 45 and verse 46, and we will also meditate upon the appearance of Lord Advaita Acharya. And we'll see what his position is, and then what we gained by following this. So I will go through the purport of text 45. Prayatna Jitamanastu Yogi Shamshuddha Kilvishai Aneka Janmasin Samsiddhas Tato Yati Param Gatim. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With the determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvantamoho moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrita. After many, many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, this is such a wonderful words. Prabhupada has given a short purport, but to the point. I need someone to keep time for me because I don't have my cell phone. And,
It's 4:29.
okay, because I have a little note.
Yeah.
Thank you. When it's 4:50, let me know. Okay.
I'll ring a bell for you.
Yes. Thanks. A person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, and sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. So, first of all, we need to understand why only such a person has to get that realization that he has to then do the yoga practice. There is the person born in a righteous, aristocratic, and sacred family. So there is an example in Srimad Bhagavatam for this. We discussed about that the lifetime of Bharat Maharaj during the last lecture. We discussed about it. So we need to ask the question: so why Krishna is saying these conditions, this all coming together? Because in this material life, when you take birth, if you are still working towards getting food on your plate and trying to have a good family, or a little bit beyond that, just to satisfy this material body, you're struggling every day just to satisfy that, and at no point you're going to get that clear consciousness of going beyond this material body and thinking about the soul, what the souls need, and then what is the purpose of our life. There are some people who can, even at that situation, have self-realization, but not many of them. When you ask a question to a common person, what God means to you, immediately he goes, well, I have only this much in my life. I haven't gotten so many things, and all the other people have this, so I think God is partial to me. That's the first thing that comes to their mind. So that's how we quantify, or we in the sense the human beings here, that's how we try to quantify the relationship that God has with us, or the relationship that we have with God. How much materially Krishna has given to us, and how much I have all the body parts. There are so many people who do not have. At least we have to thank Krishna for that. First of all, that's the thinking comes. Then you take next step forward. And then in the next step is you have the opportunity to educate yourself. Then you can get education from the right place. And when you have the knowledge, you start utilizing that knowledge in the proper direction to inquire about the self-realization. You can also utilize the same knowledge for gaining the material benefits. That's another thing, which is what most of the human beings do. Because once they get the knowledge, they utilize that knowledge to gain more and more material benefit. What is going to happen ultimately? Yes, they are gaining all those material benefits, but it's all going to end soon. It's all going to end soon. It's all going to end sometime or other. And what is not going to end is this spiritual life. So so we have to realize what is eternal first. There we have to find the difference between the chit and the achit, which is eternal, which is temporary. This world is temporary. This life is temporary. Everybody is temporary. So we should come to that realization first. Once we realize that, then the next question is, so my purpose, then what is my purpose? And then we start inquiring, and we need to go through the proper path of inquiring, which is we take the Shastras as an example, and then we also, Krishna says, the best way for you to understand something is to take spiritual master. To take a spiritual master who came in the right disciplic succession. So you consider a spiritual master, and then you inquire from him submissively. Once you start understanding that, once we have that knowledge, that is the real knowledge. All this material knowledge is not the real knowledge. Once we get that real knowledge, then that will really help us get to the next level. So that's where this verse comes from. It starts out like this. It says, a person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, and sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. So all these things have been given to us. We take things for granted. But it has been given to us by Krishna. Why? For us to inquire. For us to do the yoga practice. And what is that yoga practice? There are different kinds of yoga practice. And this chapter talks about one specific yoga practice. But specifically, Krishna is saying, ultimately, why all these facilities are given to us? Specifically to think about one yoga practice, which is connecting to Krishna. And that is the yoga practice. And you can get that connection through one yoga practice, which is the bhakti yoga. So first of all, we need to get to the point where we should realize, we need to do yoga practice, and then identify the right process, and then start following that. That's where we are. So that's how the verse starts, and then it goes with determination. Therefore, he begins his unfinished task with the determination. So when we start something, we need to have faith. When we have some kind of faith, then that faith will help you to get there. But that's not enough. You need to keep maintaining that faith. You need to have determination to continuously do something. To not lose that faith, you need to have the determination. When you have the determination, then you keep going. And then it says, therefore, he begins his unfinished task. Why it says like that? Because Krishna knows, and he says in the second chapter, he says to Arjuna, I have known you in the past, and I know you in the present, I know your future as well. So you existed before, all these men existed before, and they are existing now in this war, and then they are going to exist in the future. When Krishna says, when you and all these men, he doesn't refer to the material body standing in front of Arjuna. He's referring to the souls that's standing in front of Arjuna. So in that sense, there was a past. So there was a past. And this verse is stating, if we start our spiritual life in one material life and we couldn't complete, then what will happen to those kind of people? They already started a yoga process, but they couldn't finish. For whatever reason, they couldn't finish. They fell down from the process, or they couldn't attain such a position that they can get liberated in that life itself. For them, what is going to happen? What is the result? Excuse me. For them, it clearly explains here, you will get next birth. And how your life is going to be. At least there is one guarantee Krishna is giving here. If you read this, he is saying, you won't get animal birth. At least you have the consciousness to inquire, who am I? Why I took this birth? Animals can't do that, inquiring. So we need a body that can think beyond the animal consciousness of four things: eating, mating, sleeping, defending, which is our human birth. So we all had that opportunity before. And then we have, based on our karma, we passed so many lives and we have this human birth. So Krishna is saying, if you start the process and you left off, I will definitely give you the next opportunity to go back. And this practically happened. That's what in Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Bharat Maharaj. Story of Bharat Maharaj, where Bharat, he was an emperor, had all the facilities, had all the wealth. He gave up everything. And then he went to the Gandaki river, and then he started leading the ascetic life in a small shack. That's it. He was there. All he was doing is just chanting the name of the Lord. He wants to go back to Godhead because he realized the human form of birth is to go back to Godhead. Although he had everything, he said, I am done. I am giving everything to my son, my daughter, and my wife, and I'm going to this place so that I can go back to Godhead. I can spend 24 hours of my consciousness thinking about the Supreme Lord. And that's what he did. While he was doing that, he was attracted by a baby deer. This is the pastime given in Srimad Bhagavatam. He was attracted by that baby deer. So what happened? He started spending more time taking care of the baby deer than going to the forest, collecting flowers to worship the Lord. He said, forget about it. I'm not going to forest today because I have to either leave the baby deer here. In that case, the lion or tiger is going to come and attack the baby deer. If I take him to the forest while I'm picking flowers, a snake might bite him, or there a lion might come and catch the baby deer. So his consciousness was not Krishna consciousness, it was deer consciousness. So he had this constantly thinking how I can protect this baby deer, which is, if you think about it, that's the kind of consciousness we all have. We get attached to one thing. We get attached to our family. We get attached to our home. We get attached to our car. We get attached to our money. We get attached to our health. We all get attached to all these things, which is all okay as long as you get attached and then you maintain these properly to achieve that ultimate goal, which is to going back to Godhead. But what we do, like what Bharat Maharaj did, we spend so much focus on protecting all these things and maintaining all these things, we miss the point. So Bharat Maharaj did. And then he left his body one day. Because he left his body, having the consciousness of deer, the next life, he took birth as a deer. Bharat Maharaj consciousness is really highly purified consciousness. For us, if we have to take next birth, we won't remember anything. We won't remember anything. But Bharat Maharaj remembered everything that happened in the past life. Because he remembered, immediately he understood he did a big mistake. At the end of the life, instead of doing Krishna consciousness, even completely focusing on Krishna, he was totally engrossed by this thought of deer. So as a deer, what he did, he walked all the way back to the Gandaki river. He walked all the way back. He went to the same place. He ate dry leaves, just enough to maintain the body for a very short period of time. He didn't go out and graze nice food, just ate dry leaves. That's what gives him Srimad Bhagavatam. Dry leaves, little bit by little. Left his body very soon. Because he had the consciousness, but he couldn't do any service in that body. He needs a human body. So because he was completely in that consciousness, again he got next body. He became son of a Brahmin. And then he was named again Bharat. He was named Bharat again. But this time, he was completely conscious of what happened in his past two lives. And he said, this lifetime is for me to simply go back to Godhead. Simply go back to Godhead. I am not doing anything that's going to distract me or take me away from Krishna. So then what he did, he started acting from birth. He started acting as if he's a dumb guy. He can't listen, he can't speak properly. Then he started acting up. And then his father used to teach him all those religious things that he has been doing so that his son can also do all those things and survive in life, as a normal human being. He wouldn't learn anything. And then he would act as if he's a very dumb person. So then he started calling him, and everybody started calling him Jada Bharat. Jad means in Sanskrit, it's like a lifeless body, dead body. So he acted like a dead body. Like he wouldn't take shower, he wouldn't cut his nails, he wouldn't cut his hair, he wouldn't clean himself, nobody would come near him. That's what he wants, because if people start coming close to him, they will talk all the things that are taking him away from Krishna. He doesn't want that consciousness to get distracted even a bit. So everybody started calling him Jad Bharat. So the Jad Bharat, his dad said, now you are old enough, I can't maintain you, you are useless for this family, get out. So he started walking away from the family and then started walking into the forest all over the place. And he was just eating whatever he can, and then he was just sitting in the forest. While sitting in the forest, in that region there was a king. So he was coming in a palanquin. And they need 4 people to carry the palanquin. So while the palanquin is being carried, one person carrying the palanquin has become weak. So he couldn't handle anymore. So the king says, okay, find another able-bodied person to carry the palanquin because he is now no longer able to carry me. So to replace, they're looking for someone. In the forest they're walking, and they see this person. Jada Bharat's just lying there in the corner in the forest. And they wake him up and then say, hey, this is the king. His name is Rahuguna, King Rahuguna. So King Rahuguna is calling you. You have to carry his palanquin. We need one extra hand. Come. Then he gets up, and then he holds the palanquin. He teaches wonderful philosophy. Jada Bharat, he doesn't talk much, but he teaches wonderful philosophy about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he holds the palanquin. He takes one step, stops. And then he looks down like this, shakes the palanquin. Again, he take one step. He stops. He looks around. And the king was really upset inside. Who is shaking the palanquin and who is not moving forward? And the other 3 carriers, they were really scared. They don't want to get punished by the king. They said, no, it's not us. It's this new person that we just recruited. He's not carrying looks like he doesn't know how to carry the palanquin. He's stopping every step. And then King Rahuguna got down and then asked, so why are you stopping every single step? He said, well, every single step of my way, there are so many living entities. I want to make sure I'm not stepping on any of the living entities here. So I just don't want to kill any ant or anything on my way. And then again, he gets up on the palanquin, and then they move a little bit forward. He's not doing the job again. And King Rahuguna started chastising him. You're such a thin person, you are emaciated and you're useless. And then Jada Bharat turns back to King Rahuguna and asks, you are such a learned person. You looks like a very learned person. You told so many things. But everything you said, you told about me or about the body. King Rahuguna was thinking, I am talking to you. Oh, if you're talking to me, then none of them bothers me, because by being a thin being stupid, dull person, being not able to do those things, all those things, you chastise this body. This body. You think you are a king, you're wearing a crown, you're sitting on a palanquin, and you can order 4 people to move forward to carry you without you walking by putting your feet on the ground? King Rahuguna, this thing will change like this. Tomorrow, you will get this body. You may have to carry a palanquin. I may become the king. So, you and I will exchange a position. But what you are talking about is this body. This body will disappear. This is not me. The me is the soul within. And I am completely, my soul is not concentrating on what you're chastising, because that it has nothing to do with the soul. You're talking everything about the body. I am constantly focusing on the Supreme. That's all I want. That's all I am doing. And then King Rahuguna realizes, wow, you don't seem to be a normal person. Are you incarnation of Mahavishnu or something? No, you're talking in that level. And then there's a good exchange going on between them, and he enlightens King Rahuguna about the spiritual life. And then at this point, Jadabharat, leads life like this after that, and then he leaves the body. This exactly talks about that people, when they start their spiritual life, they guaranteed a human body, a human life, and then on that too, a very good life. But what we see, people, human beings who have very good material life, they don't realize why they have material life. Why they have very good material life. So I will just finish this purport and talk about Advaita Acharya 5 minutes, and we'll be closing the lecture today because I want to finish it at 5. Okay. So he begins unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness, which is exactly what happened to Jadabharat. There was a little bit of contamination that he had. He had to cleanse, and that's why he took that birth. And when he cleansed it, he was able to go back. Such a high soul, even for him, he has to come back to get cleansed. What to speak of us? We're not spending 24/7 time to think of Krishna. Right? Krishna consciousness is a perfect state of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. So that's this verse. It again stresses the same point. After many, many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So it's very difficult to get there, but then we have the opportunity. We have the opportunity. Especially we have opportunity because, we have such a wonderful movement. So that's a good segue getting into this appearance day of Advaita Acharya. So who is Advaita Acharya? Advaita Acharya, so just to give you some background, Advaita Acharya is incarnation of Mahavishnu himself. So he is entourage, he is part of the entourage of Krishna. There's Mahavishnu, there's Adishesha, and there are others like Balaram. Everybody, the whole entourage came here 500 years ago, and then they all came. It's arrangement of Krishna to appear again, but then who actually made Krishna appear here is Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya started requesting Krishna that in Kali Yuga, it's just the religiosity is deteriorating so much that we have to. It's degrading so much that he requested Krishna to appear in person. So, just to get the position of Advaita Acharya, Mahavishnu, there is Krishna. Krishna doesn't do any activity. any of the creation, the maintenance, or the annihilation, none is being done by Krishna. All Krishna doing is playing with the gopis, playing with the gopas, and then just having, the leelas with all the others, Radharani and everybody. It's very high, esoteric. And there is that level. And then comes expansions. From Krishna comes Balaram, his first expansion. Now Balaram is like, you have a president and you have a secretary, who's actually doing all the things like that. But then the president is doing his thing. Like, so we have Balaram. Balaram expanded to Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Shankarshan. So the 4 expansions. So these are all very important. These are all very important expansions. And from Shankarshan is what came the Ananta Sesha. The snake. He's called Ananta Sesha. Okay? Anta means in Sanskrit, Anta means end. Anta means end. But his name is Anant, means there is no end. Unlimited. And what is he actually doing unlimited? What is he actually doing that's unlimited? He has thousands and thousands of hood. Or that there are 100 important hood. Through that 100 important hoods, what he is doing is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Unlimited. Without stopping. And every head, it says in Srimad Bhagavatam, chants different pastimes of the Lord. That's why he's called Ananta Sesha. So from Ananta Sesha, then from the Shankarshan comes Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is lying down in the causal ocean. What is causal ocean? That's his ocean from his perspiration. So he's lying there. From there, he expands into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Why? Because Mahavishnu, every breath, he creates multiple universes from all his pores of the body. Within every universe, then he manifests as Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And when the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu glance upon Mother Earth, that's when all the Jiva souls get created. So that Mahavishnu came as Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya, so he's Mahavishnu himself. So he came and then he prayed to Shalagrama Shilas that Krishna appeared here. So Krishna appeared in the mood of Radharani as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. He manifested so many qualities which was very clear that he was none other than Krishna. And it's also given in Srimad Bhagavatam that he's going to appear with golden complexion at this exact time and this year and this when all these stars are going to be aligned this way. So because of Advaita Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. Because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, the whole Sankirtan movement got revived. It was there before, but for the Kali Yuga, it got revived because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we got Srila Prabhupada. And because of Srila Prabhupada, we got International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Because of that, we have everybody here. So we are from a wonderful parampara. We're going back to Krishna, completely connected back to Krishna in a very clear sense. So we have to be, very lucky, an opportunity, it's a wonderful opportunity for us. So all we have to do is keep associating with the devotees, keep coming to the temple, get the association, and then get the blessings of the Lordship, not just 1 week, week after week, and then try to read Srila Prabhupada books, and then try to do some service to the satisfaction of the Lord. Then there's a guarantee. With determination, therefore, you finish your unfinished task, and you go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. don't know how many minutes I have. I can take questions.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. I can take questions if you have any. Yes, Mataji?
So this life itself might be a life that we're trying to finish our unfinished business, right?
That's exactly what everybody should be thinking. We don't want one more life to start all over again, because there's no guarantee that we will become spiritual in that life. So we should be thinking this is our last life. And Prabhupada said, you can go back to Godhead this lifetime. Why not? He said, yeah, we can. Yes, that's absolutely right.
We mentioned about Krishna asks us to go to a guru and render service and inquire submissively. So is he talking about the Diksha Guru or a Shiksha Guru?
Okay. You have to get instruction from a guru. So what happens is, when you can take instruction from many gurus, but you have to take diksha from a guru, a spiritual master, because what happens is, when you the diksha guru and siksha guru, the siksha guru will give you all the instructions, but then when you take initiation, or when you take that diksha from a spiritual master, then what happens is, immediately you get into that chain of connection to Krishna, because your spiritual master is holding on to what is his name? Prabhupada. What does that mean? Serving at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he is serving at the lotus feet, and there is a direct connection. And from him, somebody is holding on to his feet, and all we want is to hold on to that person's feet. And you get that opportunity to hold on to someone's feet when they take you as a disciple. So when you take someone as a guru, that goes beyond just instruction. I mean, we can have so many diksha gurus, so many siksha gurus, who is instructing gurus, but diksha guru we have to have, it can be only one. But we have to have. So what Krishna is talking about is, you take that spiritual master, which is the diksha guru.
So Prabhu, in short, in order to get on the boat, to cross the ocean, we need spiritual master to
Yes.
Get the entry.
Yes, we need the entry, yes. He's the one who's holding our pass. Otherwise, there is no hope. That's a very good example. There's a big ocean, Prabhupada says, there's a big ocean, there's a boat waiting for you. It's up to you to get onto the boat. When you get on the boat, there is a boatman who knows how to row the boat, row a boat, and then he also knows where to row. It's on the other side, or somewhere take you to the middle of the ocean, and then there are so many gurus who can take you to the middle of the ocean and then say, oh well, so take to the other side. So get on the boat. Very simple. Prabhupada has constructed a very big boat, and it's a sure shot to get to the other side. Prabhu, the plate is still in the altar?
Yeah, you have maybe 8 minutes, 7 minutes.
Okay.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
you mentioned in order to go back, we have to be free from all the material contaminations
Yes.
and illusionary dualities.
Yes.
Illusionary duality.
Illusionary dualities. Yeah, that's a very good question. So material contamination, obviously we understand that, we don't want to get attached to anything, or we don't, eventually, we practice, and we slowly give up everything. And we don't want to get attached to any of the material things. So what we want attached to is Krishna. When we start getting attached to Krishna more and more and more, all these other ties that we have will become less important for us. So we give up all those things. Okay? And then comes the dualities. And the dualities, it is explained in one of the lectures I was listening to. You have to be completely focused and then say, just Krishna is the supreme. Accept he himself as the supreme. And he is an individual person, and your focus is on to getting to the supreme. There are people who think there is a Brahman, there is Paramatma, there is Bhagavan. There are three forms, right? Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. What people think, they split these three things into three different things, and they don't see everything as one. That's what Prabhupada gives example. When you see the sun and there is a rays coming, that belongs to the sun. Rays cannot stay separate from the sun. And when there is sun, when you think sun is so bright, there is someone beyond the sun who is actually doing all those work, and that his name is Vivaswan. He's a sun god. So there are three things. So there is Brahman, Paramatma, and there is Bhagavan. So when you go beyond these dualities and then say, okay, Krishna, the supreme, from him everything comes. So I'm not going to be focusing, trying to get to the Brahman, the Brahmajyoti. I'm not trying to just focus on the localized Paramatma. Everything, yes, I'm focusing. This is because he is supreme within, and he is none other than him. You go beyond all the dualities and then say there's only one supreme. He is the supreme. Everything comes from him. Everything goes back to him. That's your ultimate aim. You want to go back to Godhead, Goloka Vrindavan, where Lord Shri Krishna is. Yes, Prabhuji.
In the text 45, it starts with Prayatnatma. So that means by rigid practice.
Yeah, Prayatnat, yeah.
So to clear our sins, we need to do some very strict practices. Or what Prabhupada is trying to tell.
This is Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying, if you want to go back, come back to me. Very simple. It's not that easy. I'm not going to just take you back. It's not that easy. So he's saying you have to have determination. You have to think about me. And like he says here, it doesn't say by just do something. It says a rigid practice. So the rigid practice means you have to follow certain things. But how you have to follow? You have to follow in a rigid manner. Rigid manner means then it's going to be hard. Even though it's hard, you have to practice it. And what are those things? That's what Prabhupada described us, or prescribed to us, which is those 4 regulative principles. He prescribed us 4 regulative principles, and beyond this, he gave this chanting of Mahamantra. And chanting of Mahamantra, he didn't say, whenever you find time, just do 1 or 2 times. He said, you have to do 16 rounds every single day. Oh, that's too hard. Prayatna. You do a little bit of sacrifice. Whenever you have trouble and you want to go and pray to Krishna, and then you think Krishna has to answer you every single time. That's what every human being's nature is. When you are in trouble, immediately they have to just make a drive to the temple, and then you just go and, that problem, if that gets resolved, I think I'm going to think about you every week after this is so big. I can't handle myself. Please help me this one time. Either it's money or anything, I may have to I'm going to lose my job next week. Please, just this time protect me. And then and then immediately we make a contract. I will think about you. Maybe I will come every week to a temple Sunday, and then start chanting. Or do whatever, right? People think, okay, I'll put $10,000. I'll go here and then do a diamond mukut and then drop it in the whatever. Depending on their problem, they think big. I want a big next big deal, the big business. Then so the bribe becomes does Krishna need anything? Who he has at his feet? Mahalakshmi, source of all opulences. Why Krishna needs $10 bill from me? He doesn't care. He just checks how much heart you have to give it back. That's all. They always have this giving back program. You have so much money, how much you can give back to the society? How much you can give back to Krishna? That's all he cares. So a little bit of sacrifice. If you do that little bit of sacrifice, then he's going to help you. You don't do any sacrifice, no prayatnat. You have so many births. Definitely not human birth. Maybe something else. Sorry, Prabhu, did I answer your question? So chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulating principles. Yes, Prabhu. This will be the last question. I think we're done. Okay.
When you were talking about Advaita Acharya,
Yeah.
you said that he's the same as Mahavishnu,
Yeah.
and then he asked for Krishna to come.
Yes.
I was thinking before this that Krishna is the same as Mahavishnu. It's not.
That's exactly right.
Or is it-
Krishna is the two-hand form. He is the supreme most. From him, there are so many expansions, and Mahavishnu is expansion of expansion of expansion. He is doing a work. Mahavishnu is creating the universe. He is doing job for Krishna. So, but when you say on a high level, yes, we pray to Mahavishnu. That's okay, yeah, yes, we have to pray to Vishnu. He's a Vishnu Tattva. But then it goes a little bit beyond in terms of understanding understanding in terms of knowledge. Krishna, not exactly the same. Krishna is the supreme, supermost, two-hand form. Mahavishnu, 4-hand forms, and there are so many. Okay. I think I have to finish the lecture here. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Advaita Acharya. Very well.